Okay, so the next thing we're going to do to this block is there's actually a couple more hidden lines that go here in the front view, and we're going to take a look at that. So, to take a look at those lines there in the front view, we're going to go look at our 3D drawing here. Let's see. On our 3D block, here's what we're going to take a look at. As I rotate this up and around, if we're looking from our front view, we see just this. But if you look right down here in the corners of this, right here, this corner actually creates a line. If I highlight it here, you can see that line that's created there. And that would make a line here on this front view coming across here. Also, if I rotate this a little bit more, you can see this straight line that's right back here. So this straight line back here also will create a hidden line here in our front view. So let's take a look at that on our drawing. So what that's showing is it's showing this flat surface here that goes all the way through here. So this flat surface just continues on from this corner right across here and across there. So what I do is put a line from there straight across to there. Zoom in there a little bit. Trim off that portion and that portion and change these two pieces to hidden lines. Okay, so that's got that taken care of. Now once that's taken care of, now we have to look at this actually causes something else up here in this top view. What this causes in the top view is, let's look back here at the top, it causes this transition from this yellow to this red surface. This red surface is showing the bottom curvature of that hole. And this is determined there by what we just did. The hidden lines for the hole going through each side are represented by these white lines here. And notice this does not line up with this. This is offset in a little bit. But we just can't guess at where that's offset at. We actually have to determine that from our drawing. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of time here to think about that or where that comes from. It has to do with these two lines that we just drew. So I'll let you think just for a little bit. I'll waste a little bit of time here, twiddling my thumbs. I could do the Jeopardy theme song, but I'm not very good at that. Do, 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 do. I don't know, I can't do Jeopardy. But anyway, now hopefully I've talked long enough that you thought about this and you thought about where these might go. Let me go ahead and just show you. Where it actually goes is where this hidden line intersects this circle. Where it intersects this hole, that intersection right there is where this line is made from here to here. Same where it intersects on this side. So the way that's seen here is this. I'm going to draw a line from there, straight up right to there. A line from there, straight up right to there. And going to trim off these two pieces of line. Now those two little pieces right there, those are those object lines that we saw in our other drawing. There. And again, those just come from where this hidden line intersects the circle. Okay, now, other than center lines, I believe this drawing is all done. So let's go ahead and take a look at doing center lines. To do center lines, first thing we're going to do is we're going to select this layout line. And we're going to pull it outside of our object just a little bit there. And I'm going to pull it outside my object just a little bit down here on the bottom. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to select this hidden line here and pull it just a little bit outside of the object here. And this side passed a little bit on this side. Now the reason I'm doing that is, these lines, it's just a rule. It can't be made to end on an object line. So it can end there, and it can end there. Here, you would go outside of the circle to show the center of the circle, but this arc, you still need to show the center point of it. So we're going to come on outside of here just a little bit. This one on the bottom, honestly, the typical way I do that is go right to there. But it helps center it up, make it look a little bit better if I came on outside of this. Usually you wouldn't go outside of a flat object like this, the flat bottom to this. Usually you just go outside of the circular piece. But here, just to keep it centered up better, I take it on down to there. Now those two lines are going to be center line. So now that they're selected, I'm going to go up here, change those to center lines, and that really looks pretty good. The only other little tiny detail that I told you about on our last drawing is grabbing this grip and pulling it straight down to where the center of this line lines up right there. Now here, be careful. Don't pull it over to that intersection because then the center of your circle is going to be wrong. Pull it straight down to there. Then we can grab this grip, pull it straight to the side to there. And now the center point of that is showing exactly the center point of that circle. And that's perfect. We can do the same thing up here. Again, this one, I'm going to pull this center line back here just a little bit. Now this is one where I am going to just go to there. I'm not going to go outside of this outside line. I'm just going to go to outside of the circle. Here, I'm going to come down to there. This one to about there. And that one to maybe about there. Again, now those two lines, I'm going to change those to hidden lines, or sorry, center lines. And now those two are selected. I can't see them. So I have to change it up a little bit so I can. And I'm pausing here for a little bit, letting you think a little bit. What command do you do to do that? It is actually the change property box. So we're going to hit CH and hit enter. Brings up this box. It went over here on another one of my screens. Let me go see if I can find it. Oh, there it is. My change property box is not moving. Just trust me to know. In the change property box, you're going to go to the scale of that drawing, and there I got to move. You're going to go to the scale, and you're going to set that down to a 0.5 scale. Setting that to a 0.5 scale, let's hit enter. You still don't see it. So let's change that down to a 0.25 scale and see what that looks like. 0.25 looks good. Let's go ahead and grab this, pull it to the center there. And we're going to grab this one and pull it up to there. And that looks really nice. All right, we're going to pause. Okay, so now to keep going with this. Those center lines, we need to continue putting those on the rest of our drawing. So I'm going to park this over here to the side. The places where they go on the rest of our drawing is, we have a center line that's going to go through this top view. So to do that one, I'm going to take a line from there. I'm just going to use the layout line. Go outside of my object there. Grab it with the grips and pull it about to there. And I'm going to change that to a center line. Now with that one, notice it doesn't look like a center line. I could change the scale of it a little bit, or on this one, if I just make it a hair longer, look at that. Now it looks like a center line. I'm going to pull it up here to where it's centered a little bit better. And that looks beautiful. Moving on, I'm going to come down here, draw a line straight down off of that, and notice I just went to the end of that center line up there. Now I'm going to grab the grip, pull it down to there, and I'm going to change that to a center line. Again, it doesn't look like a center line, so I'm going to change that to a 0.5 scale on my line type scale. And hey, that looks beautiful. Okay, I got one to put over here on the side view. To do that, I'm going to draw a line from that, and I'm going to bring it straight across. I'm going to change the length of that with my grips down to about there, and change that to a center line. Again, they just got centered up a little bit better. I'm going to pull that to the side just a hair. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Last but not least, I need a center line showing up and down here for this one. To do that, I'm going to take it off my top view, straight over, and straight down. And once again, I'm going to grab my grip and pull this down. Now here, I don't want to end it right there on that line. That just wouldn't look very good. So I'm going to go about right there. And I'm going to change that to a center line. On this one, again, I know it's not going to look like one, so I'm going to change my scale down to a 0.5 scale. And that looks really good there. So that's got all of my hidden lines and center lines done on this drawing. The only real thing that we have left is getting everything centered up and filling in our title block. And we'll do that here in just a moment. Okay, from here, the actual drawing part of this is done. But, however, like we did on one of our last drawings, our block drawing, it's just not centered up very good. So from here, we need to center it up. One thing I want to do, though, before we center it up, honestly, I'm going to get rid of these lines over here on the side. So first off, I'm going to trim out these lines over here. I'm going to go trim. I'm going to trim out those two lines there, of those layout lines. And I'm just going to totally erase out these layout lines. The reason for that is it gets into this title block and border, and the next steps I'm going to do, if it's in the title block and border, it's going to be kind of a pain. So now I need to move these things around. But remember, I have to leave these views in line with each other. These two views, this cube over here, this square over here, and this right side view have to stay straight in line with each other. The front and side views have to stay straight in line with each other. So instead of move, I'm going to use another command that we really haven't touched on much, which is stretch. So the way stretch works, everything that's entirely included inside of it will just be moved like normal. Other lines that aren't included inside of it will just either be made longer or shorter. So for example, the way this works. On mine, I need to move these two views, the top view and this square over here. I need to move both of those things up. So I'm going to go S for stretch. I'm going to pick a box around all these things, including my layout lines over here on the side. So now all these lines that are there in the middle that I'm just crossing over, they'll be stretched longer or shorter, and the other parts will move. So notice how this works. I'm going to click there with that crossing box, hit enter. My base point I'm just going to pick over here to the side so I don't snap to anything. I'm going to pick my base point over here, and I'm just going to slide it straight up. Now notice I can slide it straight up. I can slide it over the corner, which I don't want to do that. But I'm going to slide it straight up, and I'm just going to try to eyeball this. Let's see, if I put this one about there maybe, that'll allow me to move my bottom one up. I'm going to click about there. And now with that, notice this gap is there. This one in the middle is bigger. This one in the bottom is really small. I'm going to stretch these two views up a little bit. So I'm going to do S for stretch again. Pick my box around here, including these lines entirely over on the side. And I'm going to stretch these two up something about like that. So now this space, and this space are somewhat equal. My middle one's maybe a little bit smaller, but you know, honestly, I don't know how worried I am about that. I'm not worried about this being perfect. It has to be close. So now, obviously though, there's a lot of gap over here on this side. So now I'm going to stretch this square here again, that layout square, and that right side view, and I want to include that line on the bottom. I'm going to stretch all of those things, and I'm going to stretch all those to the side. Again, my base point I'm going to pick down here below, and move those over there a ways. Maybe something about like that. Now I'm going to stretch the front and the top view along with those layout lines on the top and the bottom. I'm going to stretch all these a little bit this direction. Again, having polar on is a must. They have to stay straight in line with each other perfectly. And right there. Okay, this is not perfectly centered by any means, but it's close. I mean, if I was picky, I'd say, this side here is a little bit smaller than this and this. You know, I could stretch this over just a little bit more here. I'm not going to be that extremely picky with you guys. As long as things are pretty close, as long as things just aren't slammed down in the corner, I'm going to be just fine with it. Now, the last thing we need to do is to fix our title block and border. To do this, it's not something I do often, but it's going to look at the screen. I'm going to rotate it this way using this little arrow here. I'm going to rotate my drawing just so I'm looking at this a little bit better here. The title block. This is not blank. The title of this is called the Lazy D. Lazy D block. Okay, and that probably should be all caps. All caps is just a thing when you're, ooh, what? Let me try that again. It went down to the second line on me. It shouldn't go down to the second line on me. I don't know, or on you. I don't know why mine is. It's just not quite long enough there. Lazy D block. All right. My text has been put in there differently. Mine's not centering up. Your text has been done much better than mine. This is actually a title block that I took from somebody. So anyway, mine's not centering up there exactly correct, but we can deal with that. Scale. Scale is going to be 1 = 1 or full. Either one works for that. I'm just going to go ahead and write full. F-U-L-L, full. Date, put in today's date, whatever that is. So put that in there. Material. You know, what would this be made out of? Actually, we have that block on my desk. It's made out of wood. So I'm just going to put wood. It's good enough. Hour, put your correct hour in there. Obviously, created by Mr. Worcester. That's mine. Yours you're going to create with your name in there. So put your name in there. Engineering Academy, great. Witnessed by nothing. Once that's all done, rotate it back around like normal. And then zoom in on there nice and tight on it, pretty tight there. And create your snipping right there. You're going to create a snipping of this. Again, make sure your layout's there. I've got to see that layout. When I create my snipping here, I can do this real quick. I have enough video left, I think. I'm going to create my snipping. I'm going to include just a little bit of that so I see those layout lines there. And there you go. You're awesome. Good job. Submit that.